Hey, witches.
Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode. We are doing our review of our year 2025.
Yeah.
It has
And
been quite the
true to
year.
fashion, yeah, yes, it has, first of all. But also true to fashion, neither one of us wrote down, like we said we were going to do, what happened each month. So we'll try that again this year. Um,
And fail again.
but listen, we will just help each other remember. It's fine. So,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, January of 2025.
You want to start?
It feels like it was like 6 years ago. Um,
It's so funny because South Carolina had um a ice storm in January, and it's cold. It's like a damp cold, so it's frigid. And everybody keeps talking about, oh yeah, remember that one year we had like ice? And I was like, the one that I was here for? And they're like, yeah, that one. I was like, yeah, that was January.
that was this year.
Like that was not that long ago. Was it? Yep, that was
Oh
literally yep, that was last year almost.
my
So
gosh.
it's been a long time.
Yeah. So I had the Four of Cups reversed, which is about seizing opportunities, letting go of regret, blah, blah, blah. Um, and I thought that it was like potentially about work, and how I needed to keep working hard and learning. So when an opportunity to move up to like a management position opened up, I would be ready. I would say that that's probably accurate. Um, I did need to keep like working and learning at work, but to be honest, I don't remember a lot of what happened in January this year. Um, Other than working, I feel like I put my head down and just
Kept
worked a
kept
lot.
going.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you like not necessarily start the year off like that, but like it's not like you have like a production type of position where you work hard in January, you can start taking it easy like as the months go on, but sometimes it like just helps to like prepare you and
And like start on the right foot kind of vibes.
yeah. Whew. My turn.
Yeah.
I had two of swords reversed. So this one is kind of like two things battling each other. It's like the opposite sides of a coin, and um it's just like opposites. And it's basically choosing between two bad decisions, um or like two bad outcomes. So if the point of it is to make a choice and then like just deal with whatever consequences that come with it, but like don't stay in that stalemate of choosing. So January is when I officially took the role of property manager where I work. Um, it took me probably a few weeks to figure it out. In January, and then I started seeing some of the candidates walk through, and I was like, not that I'm better than them, but I just don't see myself working well with them. And if I take the position, then I would have a lot more work to do and a lot more stress, but I could get that pay increase and I wouldn't have to like worry about trying to go someplace else or find a different position somewhere. Um and just yeah. There like a few of the candidates I felt like I would be treated as like the secretary. Um and I just didn't feel like that was going to work out in my favor. So I decided to take it. Um, so that it not necessarily it's a bad decision either way. It just was going to require different amount of work, and it's like, which one did I want to focus on? And I felt like more money would probably be better.
More money is always better around here.
Yeah. But I'm still going strong though, so and you know, I'm still here, so
It's crazy that it's been that long, though. Like it. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago that you started that
yeah,
position.
it I still feel very, very ill prepared. Um, but I also have seen a change in me and how I react to certain situations. Like the way I act with vendors is a lot different now. Before I was very like nervous, um, just like, am I telling them the right thing? Am I doing this correctly? I don't depend on a lot of people anymore. There'll be maybe a time or two where I'll like ask a question, but ultimately it's like I've definitely grown a lot, and I now feel a lot more comfortable telling vendors that I don't want their proposal because their proposal is very expensive. Um, Now I just got to get over the interview. I don't. I have a job. It's not like I have to like be upset or like nervous about anything. But I just don't like interviewing people. I just feel like it's
Ugh, I
not
hate
very.
interviewing people,
Yeah. So
especially because I always know within the first 30 seconds if it's a no. I don't always know if it's a yes within the first 30 seconds, but I know that it's a no. Like, so if
yeah.
it's somebody that I'm like, we just met and I'm like, absolutely fucking not, then the rest of the interview is just sucks because I still have to ask all the questions because of the type of agency that we are. Like when I worked at Subway, if it the first couple minutes I knew it wasn't going to be a good fit, I would just tell them, you know what, this isn't going to be a good fit. Have a nice day. Thanks for coming. But I can't do that here. Um, so, uh,
Yeah.
interviewing people can be really frustrating.
And it's not like it happens often. I did get a lot more like interviews or like people to interview this time around. Um, and I one of them never called me back, so I was like, okay, well this is a no. I really, really was sold on my first one, but I was sold on my other first one too, and they left. So I was like, okay, let me see if there's somebody else, like just double check. And I like it didn't matter after that second attempt of calling an interview, like I was like, okay, that first person still sounds great. And I had a third one, and she was honest, and I appreciate the honesty, but she was like, yeah, I'm doing online classes for nursing. And I'm like, you have flipped places so many times. Like you currently work in a call center, you were at an ER, then you were like a mentor out of school, and then you were a babysitter. Like you've gone through several different sectors of employment. What do you
Like,
mean you think this is the right one for you? But you're still going to school?
right. Like, what?
And I was like, no, if you're like taking more class, like if this is your second year, you're going to be going to clinicals next year. Like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. And then the third one I thought was going to be a good match too. And I was like freaking out, like, crap, how am I going to like decide between the two? And then when I started telling her about the drive, like, I just want to like let you know, be candid. I don't want you to take a position that you're not going to be happy at because of a drive. I do want to let you know where you currently live and the traffic here in Charleston, you will have to drive probably an hour and a half to get to work, even though you live 20 minutes from here. It doesn't matter. You will have to drive up to 2 hours. There's people that I work with that have to get to work or leave their house at 6 a.m. to get to work at 8 a.m. And then, like, as soon as we started, like, talking about that, like, me and the other person who was interviewing, you could just see her face go from, like, really happy and smiley to, like, and I waited a couple of hours and I said, we would like to put you in front of our board. Like, are you still interested in the position? If so, I'd like to continue on to the next step. It's been 2 days, haven't heard anything. I was like, all right, if I don't hear anything by like tomorrow, I'm just gonna offer the position to the one person that I like it's weird because it's like, man, I can't stop thinking about that one. But like for the position, I really think she's gonna do well.
Yeah.
So, but God, this whole like interview process has been nerve-wracking. So kudos to anybody who thinks it's fun. Absolutely.
Ew.
All right,
Absolutely
sorry. Go
not.
ahead.
No, you're good. February. I had Two of Cups reversed, which is disharmony, disconnection, imbalance. I thought that it was going to be something to do with family. Um, I think, if I'm being honest, I didn't realize in February, but it definitely was about coworkers. Um, we were having some issues at work with people not pulling their weight, people not getting along. Um, I had a team of teachers that just couldn't work together. Um, and I'm pretty sure that it had to do with, or looking back, that's what this was about, was trying to deal with, I don't know. I'm not good at conflict resolution myself when I'm involved. I'm a flight person. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Cut you off. Snip, snip, motherfuckers.
My favorite is that you are not good at like conflict resolution, but you can fucking sit there and say, nah, you ain't gonna be a good fit. Peace out. Like, bye. That's conflict right there. I mean,
Yeah,
in a
but the
different
resolution
sense.
is that they're leaving. I don't got to deal with them anymore. I don't like. I can handle my own conflicts because I am an emotionally intelligent human being. But trying to resolve conflicts between others who are
Yeah.
not emotionally intelligent human beings, that's what I can't handle. And also, like, for a while there, I was the youngest person at my site. There is no reason that all you bitches are older than me and I should be the one resolving your conflicts.
True though.
So
Absolutely true.
that is what my February card was about.
I had the Four of Pentacles, and this one is capable of going either negative or positive. Um, it could mean that you are like successful at your goals or whatever, but then it could show that you start valuing things for like their material worth. Um, and it also says that like you've worked hard to get to the point where you are now, and it is absolutely natural for your desire to make sure that you remain stable. Um, so I took this as a financial sort of like thing, um, because I did get that increase in pay. I was still a little nervous with work, but I was like, when you what is it that you not masking, but like you don't understand how you got the position and you're starting to have like
Like
doubts
imposter
that
syndrome?
yeah, I was having imposter syndrome. And so to kind of like change that, I was faking confidence, and I think I began to believe the overconfidence. Um and I was not that I was like spending a lot of money like terribly. Um but like I was definitely spending more than I probably should have. Um so I was gambling with like overcompensation and uh my newfound financial freedom. So it's saying like without risk there is no reward, but also like you can't spend too much time attempting to conserve one thing and not the other. So like it's a balance of things. So I was trying to balance my financial assets.
Okay. March. I had two cards for March. I have the Ten of Cups upright and the Five of Wands reversed. So the Ten of Cups was like happiness, family reunions, homecomings, long term relationships, stability, security. And Five of Wands reversed is like compromise and the end of a conflict or reaching agreements. Um, don't really know. So I was like, maybe reconciliation with a family member. I was like, maybe I'm going to reconcile with my dad. I don't fucking know. I am still not sure um, what this could mean or be about. It almost had to have been something small because I can't think of anything major that happened during that time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That could also be like the start of because wasn't it this year that you not reconciled with your dad, but like started speaking to him a little more and started speaking to your like stepmom more?
Yeah, a little, yeah.
So it could be like a start of that. But it could also be the relationships at work.
Yeah, it could be that. I think I don't know. I honestly don't know. It could be any number of things. But I feel like it was like either like you said the start of something or something small because nothing big happened that month.
Yeah. Um, March was big for me. I had 4 cards. I had the Ace of Swords reversed. I had Strength upright. I had 10 of Swords reversed and the 10 of Pentacles reversed. So the Ace of Swords reversed is like confusion or lack of clarity and like a lot of scattered thinking. Um so it's basically saying like don't make any big decisions or like bold moves because you might not be thinking clearly. The strength one is for like inner power and compassion. So it shows like deep resilience, patience, and emotional steadiness. So like even when life can get difficult, you can like weather it. You can stay calm, compassionate, and courageous and like continue on. 10 of Swords reverse is like rock bottom and renewal. So this is like um a painful end, but it does bring on like a turning point. So something positive in the future, I guess. Um, the Ten of Pentacles reversed is for like long-term instability and reassessment. So there's shaky foundations around like long-term plans, finances, or even relationships.
Yeah.
Um, so the short-term plans or choices may be undermining long-term stability. It's supposed to tell you to like reassess your energy and your resources and your time to see like where um like they need to go to truly support yourself. Um so asthma attack. Um yeah. So March was I mean there's a lot of things that happened in March and a lot of these cards could go with any one of them. Um so I did struggle with ADHD. I wasn't diagnosed yet. I was struggling with making right decisions or whatever in life, in work, in personal life, that kind of thing. And so I definitely was not thinking clearly on a lot of my decisions that I made that month. Um, we also found out that Polly had like not necessarily increased health issues, but she was starting to like act weird. And we started focusing more on like her health and trying to figure out what could be contributing to it. She had a lot of like urinary issues. So we were just trying to like help her out and help her along. So like trying to combat the fog and like remain steadfast for her and for Will especially. Um, Will's a pretty like strong person, and then it's like you bring his animals or like the things that he has like put a lot of time in to, that's when he like starts really kind of starting to break down. And Polly is definitely like that was his first dog, and then he went back a few days later for Scarlet. So like those are his babies, those are his like kids. And so that could have been part of it. Rock bottom and renewal for the 10 of Swords reversed. um I really don't. This might also have something to do with like the clarity of, or like thinking clearly. Like maybe I just finally decided that like I can't take this anymore. I need to like do something about it. Um, Now whether or not I actually started it that month is another, story. But I definitely did not feel my best in March. Um, and at this time too, with like the increased everything with the animals. So like every single animal had something wrong. Like Lily started having weird issues. Scarlet had health issues. Polly had health issues. So like financially, we were eating it real fucking bad. Um, because we had three older animals. Like it's gonna happen.
It's
So
expensive.
yeah. So I think any of these swords could go with any decision. Like I hired an assistant property manager at that time, and sometimes I was like, man, was this a good idea? Other times I was like, yeah, this was a great idea. Like everyone has those moments. So it's um I don't know. There was a lot of things happening that month, so any of those could go for it.
Yeah. That's kind of how my April was. I had three cards. Um, and so I had the Knight of Cups upright, which is about like proposals, invitations, following your heart. A person with new ideas comes in. The Sun reversed is like a lack of enthusiasm, sadness, unrealistic expectations, ego. King of Wands reversed is um, lies, deviousness, prejudice, a liar or devious person. And I thought all of those together was either going to be either someone new in my life or someone I already had in my life, um, that I was going to need to learn to be cautious around. Um, and I even thought maybe that the person was me and that my ego was going to get ahead of me a little bit. Thinking back on this year, I around this time there were some big organizational changes happening at my job, and I perceived someone as being like this at that time. I've since like talked through and worked with that person and like no longer am having that issue. But this was around the start of all of that. So I'm not, since it's work related and like I yeah, I still work with all these people. I'm not gonna go deep into it, but um I believe that's what that card combination was about.
Yeah. Um my my April was Temperance reversed. Um Basically it is either there is an imbalance in my life or it's coming as a warning. Um like if you go this way, there's going to be a lot of things that it leads to. Um It could also be like like lack of long-term plan or vision. Um, and that my entire life has been a lack of a long-term plan, unfortunately. I wing it 90% of the time, regardless of how much I plan. It doesn't matter. It I never stick to it. Um, so I know March was pretty rough for us. Um, just with me feeling the way that I was feeling and just everything kind of going on. So with that, I also found out that my brand new assistant that I had just hired was going to be out for at least 6 weeks due to a surgery that she had to have. Um, and it was kind of unknown what was happening. There was a lot of missed days, and I obviously couldn't miss work because no one else was there. Um, so there's that. Um, so that was probably the warning I should have thought about at that point. But also, like, I was feeling very, I guess, disorganized is the best way to describe it. And like in like my hobbies and in work, I just felt really disorganized. I just felt like I was finally getting ahead of things or something, and then all of a sudden I just like came crashing down again. And I know there was like a moment where I was like, I really miss voice acting, but like I just didn't have the energy or like the um motivation. That's a good word for it. Motivation to actually like audition. It was nothing more than myself. Like I'm in projects. They're just on a hiatus or like not being produced right now. And everything else is legitimately just me not auditioning to anything. Or or doing anything. It's not even auditioning, like going to workshops. I didn't do any of that. So
Right.
there's no vision, there was no long-term plan for anything going on in April for me.
Um, so for May, I have the star upright, which is like hope, recognition, faith in the future, positivity. Um, and I think that is, I think most of this is related to work. I think May was a good month. Like I had a lot of good things happening. It's my birthday month. Like I was doing things with Circle. I was getting out of the house. And that's around the time that we were finding out, like, we were getting a new director and they were starting the process of applications and things for the manager position. Um, and I think that that's probably a lot of what it had to do with. Um, but I think also things were good in May. Like, there was nothing super negative happening. Um, and things were chill. That's the end of the, or well, close to the end of the school year. We don't actually until June, but um, good things were happening at work. We had like a water day. It was getting warmer, like all the good things.
The
So,
seasonal depression's going away.
right, right. So, yeah, May was a good month.
June was not where I'm going with this. Sorry. I
May.
scrolled down way too far. Um, May. I had 6 cups. This is usually like a really nice generosity, naive happiness thing. Sometimes it'll kind of revert back to your childhood. Kind of like when you want to return to a happier time. Um, it could also mean that you're returning to a familiar place. Um, or that you're seeking the comfort and warmth of people that like unconditionally love you. Um, it could also mean that like you've suffered a loss or like a disappointment of some sort. Um, so May was like the beginning of the end, unfortunately, for like Polly. Um, and so like, and then I found out like basically at the end of the month, like my assistant was going out. So not only was my assistant going out, my dog had like some type of cancer and that we didn't even know about it, on top of Lily having a heart problem. So she had like no idea what was going on with her. And then Scarlett had cancer too. So like everybody had some type of health issue, and then like I was gonna be at home, or not at home, at work alone during like some of the busiest times. And then there was like a lot of arguing at work about if somebody should be able to work from home and during recovery or something like that. So it was very stressful. There was a lot of anxiety. And sometimes when you get to that point, you just kind of want something that's familiar, something that's happy. For me, it was video games. Video games in any like sense of the thing. Usually the games that really like take a while to like play. Not like a one-off game night sort of thing that you can just play or whatever. So I heavily like played, what was it? I played some like old school games, like Legend of Zelda games, because that was like a big part of my childhood. Um, and like I recently just started thinking about it's a newer Zelda, not newer Zelda game, but it's like on the 3DS. Um, so it's not like an 80s Zelda game, it's like an early 2000s Zelda game. And I was like, man, that would be really nice. And I just think that to round out the year, it might be nice to like go to that familiar place sort of thing. So in May, that's what I did. I tried to find things that brought me comfort in a time where anxiety was at an all-time high, unfortunately.
Yeah. So June, you had Strength Upright, which is about inner strength, courage, confidence, compassion, overcoming self-doubt. Um, I don't. I think this was probably related to me trying to decide if I was going to apply for the manager position or like figure that out. Also, around this time, there's a lot of uncertainty with federal funding and funding for various programs. So, um, I could have been to do with that, like, um, having self doubt about like what the fuck am I gonna do if we lose funding and I don't have a job anymore, like, um, just stuff like that. But I literally made a comment in my notes that I was struggling to make. It says, with so many unknowns and so much uncertainty about the future this year, I'm struggling to make predictions, even with the cards. So,
June was really rough. That's when we lost Polly. Um, I had the Ten of Cups reversed, and I had the Nine of Swords. So the Ten of Cups reversed is like disconnection or disappointment, or like misaligned expectations. Um, and then Nine of Swords is like that anxiety, rumination, old wounds resurfacing. Um, so like that spiraling, and of course we all fucking spiraled that month. Um, so yeah, we lost Polly that month. There was a lot of things we thought were going to happen and it didn't work out. So yeah.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And like it's crazy because it all happened so fast. Like when we were pulling these cards and making these predictions, We never would have predicted that.
No, no,
Like,
never.
there
She
was,
was fine. It
yeah,
like if it wasn't for I think it was oh, she because of her urinary issues. She was
yeah,
like urinating a lot and like she was wearing diapers. And I mean she was older. She was 14. So like we knew like shit like this was going to start happening, but like it was one of those, oh, hey, we what was it? Like we see something that's not supposed to be there. It could be this, it could be that, but like we can't we have to like actually like go into surgery to figure out what it actually is and where it's attached. If we do this one procedure, it could rupture and actually cause like a lot of pain and like a sudden passing. If we do it this way, then like there's still a risk of like not surviving the surgery. But like how do you guys want to go about it? So like we're like, "Oh my God, like
right.
what the fuck?" So I think it was probably like we got an appointment like a week after that appointment with a specialist, and then we got on the books for a surgery like a week later, and then that was it.
Thanks. July, at least for me, did not get much better. No, again, I don't feel like July there was nothing super bad that happened. So I had the full reversed, which is like foolishness, fear of the unknown, impulsiveness, inexperience. Um, my prediction was like, fuck, I'm going to be finding a new job because, or moving out of the country because of
Yeah.
craziness. Which I kind of forgot about that, I guess, and maybe that's why. Maybe I like blocked some of it out. But like at the beginning of this year, I spent a lot of time on like Zillow Canada and Canadian job boards and researching what I would need to do to move to Canada because this year, how has it only been a fucking year? Like it's
Yeah.
not even been a full year of this bullshit yet. Um, but here we are. Um, I think that so around this time I was applying for the job, the manager position. Um and I think that at the beginning of that process, I was like, I'm going to speak it into existence. I'm getting this job. And like, I even ordered like a couple of things for my new office. Like, I was like, I got this. This is mine. Um, and I think that that might be some of what that was about. Like the impulsiveness and the risk was me just being overly confident or something like that about
Like
the
naive.
job. I'm going through like my pictures, like the monthly pictures to see kind of what to help me remember what was going on. We also spent a lot of time with nieces and nephews in July. Um, we spent a day with my nieces and nephews here at the zoo and the park and stuff like that, and then we took our other niece and nephew to the Indianapolis Zoo. So a lot was going on in July, but
I
yeah.
didn't really have a lot in July. I had Chloe visit the first week, which was really nice and fun. And that's when like I got a new tattoo. I got all of that, but like I had the 10 of swords reversed. And I guess whether it's reversed or upright, it signals the um finality, not finality, finality of defeat. So like there's no way to avoid what's going on. And July is when I really started looking into not necessarily therapy, but just like medication management, or like psychiatrists to kind of help bridge whatever is happening in my brain. Um, I think because in May is when I thought I was like pregnant of some sort and I wasn't. Um, and it like the way the doctor treated me really just set me off. I just started feeling like I couldn't trust doctors. Um, or at least doctors like within this specific like network. And I had already had like doubts on my primary at the time, so like it just kind of solidified. So July is when I was like, all right, I've been basically rock bottom like the last couple of months. I was rock bottom before, and then I hit like deeper rock bottom last month. And so after my visit with Chloe and getting like a new tattoo, I definitely felt a lot better about, not better, but I definitely like was able to start.
Started putting things in motion.
Yeah. It I was like, I'm just gonna have to do it to get the help. So
Yeah. August did not get much better for me. um, I had the Nine of Wands reversed, refusing to compromise, stubborn, rigid, obstinate, um, weakened immune system. And the Three of Wands reversed, which was unrealistic plans, arrogance, a promising venture fails to deliver, and lack of planning. Um, in my predictions, I was like, well, shit. like, um, I was like, I'm either wearing myself out and doing too much, or I thought that might have had something to do with certain laws that were being passed, and that I was going to be like, fuck this shit. Um, and honestly, all of the above. So
yeah.
August was, towards the end of August was when I found out that I did not get the promotion, I believe. Um, might have been the beginning of September, but it was in that time range. Um, which was really upsetting. Um, there's also a lot of stuff throughout this time of year about ice and things getting more and more crazy. I definitely I actually just had a conversation with my boss the other day about how I've been sick like every other week. Um, so weakened immune system definitely like that's around when I started getting sick and being sick about once or twice a month at least. So that was all pretty accurate. But yeah, that was my August. It was something.
Um, so August, I had Five of Wands and the High Priestess. So, the Five of Wands is like an inner turbulence. Um, there's like conflict or tension in the environment somewhere. Like no one's listening. There's people talking over each other. Um, and then the High Priestess shows like intuition or inner knowing. And it's kind of like um letting your intuition um guide you instead of like the outside noise. Um, in August was pretty rough at work. Um, there was a lot of arguing amongst the group of people we had. Um, it was one person didn't believe they were doing their job, asked if they could do a project. What?
I just forgot about all of that. I was like, what? Yeah, I do.
Yeah. One person didn't believe they were doing their job, the other person, um, like, and then that first person wanted to like make the project or like do something, and it was on the like books to be completed, but like it hadn't been done because of how busy the year was, and let them run with it. And then like they were going over, like they had like brought it to me and had asked like my opinion, like was there anything you think we should add, anything like that. And then the person who this checklist was going to be for, because they're part of like a team and this was that team's checklist, like started getting real mad and got like annoyed and upset, and it wasn't even completed, it wasn't even being presented, it was just a mock-up of what could be done. And there was fighting and no one was listening and people were crying, and it just skyrocketed to like a whole new thing. Then it started becoming like, I don't trust either of you, or you guys are pining against me. And then it was like, I'm just gonna leave, and like just a bunch of nonsense from two people that didn't, it was never even needed. So there was a lot of like external noise and people talking over each other. And so in a in the long run, it's like my decision. And so I basically just had to step back and think about it and think about what I needed to do, and then ask my superiors for guidance on it, and try not to divulge too much information to either person to kind of see like where it came from. So I stepped myself back out of the situations to kind of look at it from a different point of view and then see if I could find correlations through that. So that was my wonderful August.
Yeah, I just remembered too about August. We started back to school and I was in ratio full time. Um, so that probably was part of mine too. But September, I had two cards. I had the Eight of Wands reversed, which is like escape, freedom, release, finding solutions, taking control. And I also had the Queen of Cups upright, which is a choice based on sincere feelings, imagination, dreams, empathy, deep feeling, mother substitute. I auditioned for a play at the end of August, beginning of September, and that was basically my entire September was auditions and rehearsals and prepping for the play. And it was a super healing, nostalgic, empowering situation. It was great. And I'm quite certain that that's what these cards were symbolizing. And the mother substitute, I do think was not necessarily the director of the play, but just the community of the play and getting back into the theater, almost like the mother substitute was theater. Because honestly, that's half of what raised me in high school was theater. So
Yeah.
I think that that is what that signified for September for me.
My September was the King of Cups. It's one of the most influential cards in the suit of cups. It's like it represents creativity, emotion, and unconscious. It shows the ability to restrain one's emotions and be fully in charge of your feelings and impulses. It helps bring that balance between intellect and emotions. And like kind of help strengthen that relationship between understanding and feeling. So I really, really at this time my I was taking a lot of like my meds. I was taking my meds. I was going through the motions of finding what works well and what doesn't work well. Um and I really, really, really started seeing a change in me, being able to actually see um and think clearly. Like
Yeah.
I was able to write down what I needed to do in my to-do list and focus on it despite the distractions. And I was able to actually form sentences correctly without like trying to find filler words or get distracted with something or say sorry, I forgot. All of that. So September I really, really started seeing a really nice change, and it made me feel better. It wasn't necessarily like a confidence in like abilities or whatever, but I for the first time in a long time I finally felt normal.
Yeah.
I know my dad
That's
lost his
huge.
toes during one of these months too, so I'm sure that's part of it. I just don't know when.
October, I had the Ace of Pentacles upright, which is, it says a financial new beginning, new financial opportunities, a new job, new business, investments, prosperity, security, stability. Um, I don't know what the fuck that's about, because I don't feel like I definitely didn't get any raises. I did not get a new job. I didn't have any new income streams start. Um, but the play was in October. I don't know. Like maybe it was more about me having that like defining moment. And maybe maybe actually it's about like not financial richness, but like I had so many people show up for me
Mhm.
that weekend of the play, and I was shocked. I've never had that many people show up for me um before, and like there were other people that I know would have shown up for me if they didn't live hours away.
Someone could have
um
just FaceTimed me. I would have paid for a ticket and just set me up in the chair.
um but I'm thinking maybe that's what it had to do with, more like connection stability and connection richness
Mhm.
than actual financial. That's what I'm going with. Sticking with it.
Yeah. So October was a lot. I had the Five of Wands reversed. October was a lot for myself mentally, professionally, and in like the area of like relationships. So because of a lot of things going on with ICE and deportation and all of that, I ended up losing my assistant who's married to an immigrant. Um, so like it was gonna be back to the drawing board with this whole new thing and trying to navigate everything. October is also a very busy month because it's when like you start sending out budgets and like ballots and everything for um HOAs. Well, some HOAs, mine. Um, so it was gonna be like, I hope I can get this done before she leaves so that I don't have to do it all by myself. And then it was also like, I have to make sure I am organized enough to be able to do all of these things and uh basically do um everything by myself and not drown. And then just try to take everything back. I also lost a close family friend at this time. And I had to fly back to Indiana. And this is where the mental part comes in because like my dad mentally does not do well like with loss of any sort. Um I can barely talk about my mom or something that she did or said or like, oh, don't you remember mom got this for me kind of thing without him getting upset or sad. And he is just not mentally well and the house shows it. Um so not only was I like already having some anxiety going to a funeral cuz I don't it's not that I don't do well with like funerals. I just am a very empathetic person. So like I feel the energy. I don't have to know the person. I will cry with you. That's why I could never be a funeral directory. I could have like 5 family members come in, have no fucking clue who they are, and I'd be crying with them. Just because I feel their energy, and that's just the problem. Um, but like he's already on edge. I'm on edge because like going home to my father is not anything I ever want to do in my life. Um, and that was stressful. And then just seeing how like far he's fallen in terms of depression, and then he lost his toes, his like entire toes on his one side because he has health issues in May. So like that on top of everything else piling on me, I like broke down at my childhood home and I left. I was like, I will get a flight back home tonight. Do not tempt me. So I went and stayed with my aunt that weekend.
We got to see each other.
Yeah. Got to cry a little bit with her.
Yeah. And I finally gave her Christmas presents from last year.
You know, speaking of Christmas presents, did you were those murder mystery games, did you play them?
Yeah,
They were
we
perfect.
did.
Because I opened them up and I was like, this is already open. I was like, okay, so either she's played this already or like the seal broke. I don't know, something. So it was just like confusing. But when I got to the second like envelope, I was like, oh,
We
she's
did.
definitely
We
played this.
did. But like
So
once you play them once, you can't play it again. So it felt dumb to like throw it away. So
yeah, I was like the entire time we were playing the game, I was like, how did Brandy not like ride on anything? Like I was ready to go grab a pen and start like writing over everything, circling things. Like,
we have a notebook that we like take notes in as we go. So that's how we do it. But
yeah, yeah.
okay, November.
October.
Oof. Oof, oof, oof. So November, I had the Seven of Cups reversed, which is reality, clarity, sobriety, poor choices, lack of choice, and lack of opportunities. Um, November was shit for me. Um, I like something was going on with my medication, my mental health tanked. Um, I was not okay for a hot minute in November. Work was awful. I was ready to find a new job, like all the things. It was bad. So I absolutely get this card now. November was rough, but I did get into the doctor and get new medication. I even like there was even a day that I basically got sent home from work that I was so because I was so down. So like I definitely understand what this November card was about and like yeah, it was rough. It was rough. It was rough. It was rough. So
Yeah. November, I had the Emperor reversed, so it's a sign of abused authoritative power. Um, I've learned a lot in my time as a behavior therapist that certain behaviors, certain actions just need to be not avoided, but like ignored in a way. Um, and there is somebody at my job who usually either criticizes my ideas or
This person really sweet, very sugary.
no.
The name.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Um, like any ideas that I have, it's usually shot down, even if I'm not asking for advice, just saying. And it's usually always been a thing. It doesn't matter who it is, it's always negativity kind of stuff. I just brush it off because I'm not giving it any power. I'll,
Some people are just born negative and they just live there.
yeah, and so November was getting ready for the annual meeting, which happened the 1st of December, but because it was the day after Thanksgiving and that long weekend, we prepped in advance. So like the first or second week of November, we were like making sure everything was in order. We had to have our meeting at the clubhouse, unfortunately, and we're not allowed to have as many people in there. Um, and the just like, well, why don't you just do this? Well, that's stupid. Just don't do that. Just a lot of negative whatever. And it wasn't even, again, it wasn't advice. It was, well, we could probably try this and see how this would look. Just like a plan to get things pushed and pulled in the right direction. And 90% of the time, it was always in front of somebody who, like, that we work under. And it was like, excuse me.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and it was like, well, why don't you just not do this and just run it on here or do this or do that? But it's like this person never goes to the meetings and doesn't help run them. And like after I said I didn't need the assistance because at that point I didn't think she wanted to go. I had already grabbed somebody in advance, like I already grabbed people from work, from the corporate office. I had already asked them for assistance because that's where I thought we were going. I didn't think she was gonna want help anyways or want to help, so I didn't even bother. And then like in front of everybody, she was like, "Oh, do you want me to have like to help you?" And I was like, "No, I got these people to come. Like you don't have to worry about it." Um because the horror stories I've heard of you complaining about always having to go to them before. So it was just like a lot of, it didn't matter whose idea it was going to be bad, and then it would get brought up later as their idea, and then they would suck in all the praises. And I just, like, somebody had come in to grab something and like for work, and looked at me and was like, "Man, you just look defeated." And like they said that in front of that person and in front of like some board member. And I was like, I'm just tired and ready for a break. And after that, I like noticed, kind of backed off a bit. And but like the entire month of November was just authoritative power, and it had nothing like, it wasn't even the people who pay us, it was them, that person. So
Well, I know we're only like 2 weeks into December, but so far, I have the Nine of Pentacles upright, which is about independence, success, prosperity, reward through hard work. So far, I will say that like I am finally starting to feel normal again. My meds are evening out. So I would say that that's been a reward, but also um, hard work paying off. I've had a really hard time with one of my classrooms because we've had some pretty extreme behaviors, um, and inconsistency with teachers and staff. And it's been rough. But this month, things have started to ease up. The behaviors we've got success plans in place, and we're starting to get ahead of the behaviors. And I've had a lot more support. My building has been a shit show, not the people in it, but the actual building has been falling apart with the plumbing and the everything. Um, but honestly, I think that helped. I think having a few days of my staff having to go to other buildings, it was like the grass is greener situation, right? Like
Hmm.
they went to other buildings with classrooms and kids worse than ours. And they came back and they were like, okay, we don't actually have it that bad right now. Let's take a breath. Um, and so I think that that is also part of that hard work and like sticking with it, even though I wanted to quit. Um, is starting to see the success come back up. So yeah, that's it.
Um, so December, as she said, it's only a couple of weeks in. I got the Page of Pentacles reversed and the Ten of Swords. The page is like scattered focus, overwhelming, or like temptation. So it's unfocused and distracted, or just feeling stretched too thin. And then the Ten of Swords is the last or finality and like the turning point. Um, and it's basically the end of a dramatic cycle. And if I can say this year, personally, professionally, and globally, has been a giant, dramatic year of everything. There is a good reason to be distracted or unfocused or being stretched too thin because life pulls you in way too many directions. Um, but I um I've taken a lot of time off. Because I have had not a secondary person at work and my property is not very keen on having the office closed. My time doesn't roll over, so I have to take the time off or I lose it. And my boss essentially said, you need to take the time. Like, you need to take it off. You need to find time to do it all. Um, and so I took a lot of time. I have basically like 3-day weeks for the rest of the year, in various capacities. So I am taking that time to kind of regroup myself because I have been needing a break or like a mental reset. I also have a plan to like um re not redo things, but like throw out old things that I don't need to get rid of it. Do whatever that Marie Kondo or whatever her name is was like that made me happy. And then just kind of reorganize everything. So the end of the year and the end of my really rough year is coming to an end. So I'm like preparing for like the new beginning, like prepping the office for a new person to come in, a new year, a new beginning, for the HOA. Um, we also have like a really in-depth health plan with my doctor that Will and I are going to follow, um, for like something that we've been struggling to do for a while now. So that's coming up. So despite it being a really rough year, I like actually hope hope that it's gonna be a really nice release and a break from what's already happened this year. So that's kind of my reset idea
I like
for
it.
November. So,
Nice.
so that, my lovelies, is a year in review of 2025. Next
Yep.
week, we will have our 2026 tarot poll, and we will see what fresh hell awaits us. Until next time.
Bye.